Right, so we have a ton, and I mean a ton, of new information about the iMacs. We have confirmation about not only the redesign, but also colours, many colours, coming to the iMac this year, and also the possibility of the M1 coming to the iMac, which sounds a little bizarre, but it actually makes a lot of sense. And so without further ado, let's delve into it. So make sure to like and subscribe, click that bell notification for the latest Apple news and rumors. And with that being said, let's just tuck in. Right, so I was absolutely over the moon when I read this report by Jon Prosser. So he basically confirms that yes, the redesign we've been waiting forever now is happening, but also Apple's going for a retro look with these iMacs and could be introducing colours again to the lineup. Now this is absolutely great news because I've been wanting Apple to give us an assortment of colours with the iMac for some time, especially since I'm a huge fan of the original iMac G3. I've been yearning for the day that Apple reincarnates this colour palette, and that's pretty much what we've got with this leak of the 2021 iMacs. Now in terms of the specific colours we're seeing with this iMac redesign, it's not exactly what we saw with the iMac G3 because Jon says the colour palette from the iPad Air should be coming to the iMac. So that includes space grey, silver, green, rose gold, and my personal favourite, sky blue. And I must say, it looks absolutely amazing in the renders that Jon Prosser made in collaboration with concept creator. And I have to say, this does seem pretty likely to me because, of course, Apple also shares this color palette with the AirPods Max. And so it seems that Apple is fine with copy and pasting these colors literally everywhere. And so bringing it to the iMac just seems pretty plausible to me. However, I think the colours we see in these renders from Jon probably won't come to the higher end models because Apple's fun and funky colours are restricted to, of course, the products for the masses. For example, the MacBook Air has an exclusive gold colour. The iPhone 12s obviously come in a range of fun colours compared to the Pros, and of course the iPad Air 2. Now yes, I'm aware that AirPods Max don't really fit this criteria, they're not really priced for the masses in any way, and yet they come with funky colours. Well, the reasoning behind that is that AirPods Max are a fashion accessory, and so having funky colours to stand out from the competition does make a lot of sense. But anyways, coming back to my point, I think Apple's going to differentiate the iMac lineup with the use of colours. So the entry-level 24-inch size will come with these fun colours, and the more pro-end machines might come with the colours of the iPhone 12 Pro, or they might just stick to boring space grey and silver because professionals clearly don't want funky colours because they're too serious. Now in terms of the design and how accurate it is to the real deal, Jon says that these are based on prototypes he's seen, and for reference, with the AirPods Max, his renders were pretty much near identical to the real deal, and so I do think these are pretty legit. And yes, I know it's essentially a huge iPad Air on a stand, but guys, that is what I dream of every day. I've been wanting this redesign forever now. Although I do want to mention that Jon says he hasn't seen the back of these machines, and so the port selection that you see in these renders are based on the existing iMacs and could of course change for the redesign. Right, so the other tidbit from Jon's report is the M1. So of course Jon revealed this in a front page tech episode pretty recently, and in the title he mentions that these are the M1 iMacs, even though he does not mention anything about the M1 chip in the iMac in the actual video. Now of course, I do understand that as a YouTuber you need the SEO, the search engine optimization, and so because M1 ranks in search, maybe he's included that in the title to get us clicking. But let's assume that this is a legit leak and John does think we'll see the M1 in the iMac. Does that actually make sense? Well, actually, yes. Sort of. So basically, in the iMac lineup right now, we have two tiers of the 21.5-inch iMac, much like we do with the 13-inch MacBook Pro. And well, the ultra base version of the 21.5-inch iMac is clearly outdated with a really old Intel chip and a 1080p screen, so yeah, it's pretty much a crime at this point to be selling this machine at $1,000, and so Apple needs to replace this as soon as possible, but of course, they probably have to keep the price pretty low, and so I'm assuming as a cost-saving measure, and possibly to differentiate the lineup, the replacement for this base model will come with the M1. Now yes, I know the M1 is built for, of course, laptops because it has efficiency built in mind, and a desktop doesn't really need efficiency as such. But of course, we have the M1 in the Mac Mini and it's perfectly capable, and so yes, I don't think Apple giving us the M1 in the entry-level iMac, which is around $1,000 in the first place, really is not a huge issue at all. Though I will say, if this is the case, then Mark Gurman's idea of the iMacs coming at the end of 2021 wouldn't really make a lot of sense. In fact, I've mentioned this in a previous video, which of course you can check out in the icon above, but Apple's release strategy with these machines is doing it essentially by tier, and what I mean by that is that every subsequent model should be better in terms of performance over the last model. And so essentially this means that before we see the M1X machines, the M1 machines should all be out first, and so this means that there is a chance we could see a staggered release where we see the 24-inch entry-level iMac with M1 launch first, possibly around WWDC, and then later we see the M1X iMac in the lineup probably at the end of the year like Gurman mentions. Especially since Apple is releasing high-end computers with up to 32 performance cores, I'm pretty sure they want to show them off at the end of the transition, and so yes, it does make sense that they push the more higher-end M1X, M2 iMacs towards the end of 2021. That is just my theory based on how Apple's done things in the past, but of course let me know what would be the dream color for you for this iMac redesign. Anyways, thank you for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, click that bell notification for the latest Apple news and rumors, check out the video here in the icon above about some tidbits regarding the upcoming March event, and on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.